Time to do this. Ah! I'm hitting my mic. And I have a cold. Wow, what was I thinking? I'm doing a video today. All right. This is Kim from The Cuppinets, and today, with my coffee cup, I'm going to do a long overdue review of the Lunette menstrual cup. I went ahead and did a review today, and don't ask me why, because apparently the conditions are not very good for it, but I kept thinking, why haven't we done a Lunette review? Because it's actually one of my favorite cups. But I was all dolled up because I'm going to see my gynecologist, which is, you know, when you put your face together. And I was like, I should just go film a review in my office real quick of the Lunette. So that's what I'm gonna do. But first I'm gonna drink my coffee and say hi, how's everybody doing? So let's talk about the Lunette. So I'm on the tail end of my period right now, and I was having a few issues with some of the products that I was trialing. And I ended up just going back to my trusty Lunette size 2 because I was getting frustrated, and that happens sometimes when your job is to put various things in your vagina to test them out. Not all of them are gonna be winners, and sometimes you just want to put in a cup that works. And one of the cups that always works for me without fail is the Lunette size 2. And the Lunette I've actually been using for, gosh, I wanna say probably 7 years, more than 7 years, and I've actually been using that same exact cup. And if you're new to the menstrual cup world, that's a long time. So a lot of the brands that we talk about and put a cup in it are kind of new and kind of fresh and exciting because, you know, they're new and we're like, oh my gosh, there's a new brand. But, you know, I feel like we've left out Lunette from this mix because they've just been around for so long. We take for granted that they exist. And I don't take it for granted because it's one of the cups that works so well for me. But in terms of like doing a review, it's just been so long since I started using a Lunette that it's, you know, it doesn't cross my mind to do a review of it. It's almost like it's too late, which is definitely not the case. And I wanted to give them proper credit for being there when I need them, which is often if I'm frustrated by a new product and I just want to have a few hours with a cup that doesn't leak on me. If you're unfamiliar with the brand Lunette, it's made in Finland, and of course it's been around for, I mean, probably a decade at this point. I should have done some research, but they've been around at least for 7 years because that's how long I've been putting one in my vagina. Lunette comes in 2 sizes. They have the size 1, the size 2. But if you're looking at Lunette, and it does come up in our quiz results quite a bit, especially the size 1, it's just a really great average starter cup. I love it because it's on the firmer side of average, not too firm where it's something that we would recommend if you're like super mega athletic, but it is, you know, it has a touch of firmness. So when you are squishing it, and even I would say the size 2 is firmer than the size 1 when I give them my squish test with my hands. It opens up really well when you're putting it in, especially as a newbie. It wants to open up, and that's very important because if you have a softer cup and you're brand new and you're not dedicated to the cause, and I say that because if you're new and you're really into it and you're excited about using a cup and you've been doing a lot of research, you probably understand that if it's a softer cup and it doesn't open, you have to do some things to make it open. But if you're just buying something off the shelf, and Lunette is actually sold in quite a few stores on the shelves, and you're trying to put it in, it just works. And that's what you want from a cup that's readily available, that's out there for consumers to find on a shelf in a store in person versus something that's you know, on a shelf that needs a lot more help, or something that's on a shelf and it doesn't fit the average user. And there are some cups that are on shelves that are too long for users, but Lunette is one that if I found on a store shelf and I had just tried it, I almost guarantee you it would have worked well for me, having known nothing about my anatomy, and that's probably the case for a lot of people. I like that Lunette is one of the brands that you can find in a lot of places, and this color, the pink that they have, is with a collaboration they did with a store in the UK that was sold and called Monkey, and I have no idea if I'm saying that right. Oh, kitty, stop. And love this color, and actually their yellow is my very favorite cup color ever. No one does yellow. I love yellow. I think it's so fun, and it makes me feel like sunshine in my vagina. Mine is actually a discontinued color that I have. And this is one of their orange shades, which again is quite fun. And then the blue And they also have a purple, which is somewhere over there. And if you do see it in store shelves, on store shelves, it looks like this. So you get a window to see what the cup really looks like. They find your sizing. It says model 1 light to normal flow, model 2 normal to heavy. So Lunette has done their sizing based on flow, was what I'm learning on the box. I actually thought that was not the case. So maybe they've changed things, or maybe I was just misinformed. That's interesting. And then on the back, it gives you a really easy, quick overview of how to use it. The Lunette is medical grade silicone, so it is safe to use, just like any other medical grade silicone cup for up to 10 years. If you're using a Lunette and any cup and it looks like it's chalky or sticky, or there are cracks or anything that would compromise the silicone, that's when you need to get rid of it. But again, I've had my Lunette now for almost 8 years and no sign of wear, nothing. It actually looks practically brand new because a few months ago I did a peroxide soak, and that's made it look like the color it was when I got it, which is a color that they don't make anymore. I was like, what is this? I had forgotten what color it was because it was so stained. That sounds gross, but that's the truth. You put it in your vagina, it catches blood, you wash it, but it does stain. You know, Lunette's suction holes they're decent. They're not the biggest, but they're not the tiniest either. So I find if I'm using this cup and there's gunk that catches in the suction holes, I'll just fill it with soapy water, put it upright on my hand, turn it, and put it deep in the sink and squish out the soap. And that was the trick that Lunette taught me. There's not a lot to say about the cup itself because it is just such a good cup that just works. But I love that they've been really ahead of the curve on a lot of issues, and other cups are just sort of catching up. Other cups just don't care, but Lunette's always really been a supporter of things that Put a Cup in it personally believes in. And, you know, I don't have to list everything out, but I think if you go to their Instagram page, if you go to our Instagram or some of our other social networks, we really overlap on the things that are, you know, we believe in and that we're passionate about. And I think Lunette is right there in it. And so we always appreciate when brands look around, see what's going on in the world, and want to make sure everyone feels welcome and included and safe when they're buying a product or when they're using a product. And that's not the case with every cup brand. So that's something we love Lunette for. If anyone's curious about how Lunette compares to some of the other brands, I've pulled out some. This is the Salt size 1 with the Lunette size 1. And Salt is a little narrower at the tip. The stem is different, but that's what they look like. This is the Lena size 1, and that again has a rounder bottom, so I think it has a bit more capacity and that flared out rim. So this one's just more of a firm rim. This is a little more sloped. This is a little more sloped. These are all cups that fit me very comfortably, and the firmness is really right where I want it to be. So I will say that Lunette is somewhat of a trendsetter in that way, that a lot of cups have come after them and, you know, modeled themselves after it, and there's not a lot you can change in the design of cups, but I think Lunette is one that came out quite early on. If you have any questions about the Lunette cup, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'm happy to answer because I have been using the Lunette for so long. It's not my only top cup. People ask all the time, what's your favorite cup, or what are your top 3 cups? And if I were to say top 3, Lunette would be in that batch. That's all I can think to say. It's such a normal, great cup. And we are excited to say that we just recently surpassed 20,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for being a subscriber if you are watching this. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do, because we're not regular with our uploads. But if you're subscribed, you get that notification that we have new content and you may be interested in watching it. And leave a comment, like this video, and you can also join our group on Facebook called Put a Cup in It if you need troubleshooting help. We can't always answer all the questions we get or all the comments we get, but that place is a great way to get your questions answered. I don't know what that sounds like on the mic, but it doesn't sound great from over here. It is so good though. Through Put a Cup in It. Through Put a Cup in It. Through Put a Cup in It.